A card that explains a +1/+1 counter.
And a popular card that's kind of bad?
Hello. Welcome to MTG Unraveled, where we each choose a magic card and over-explain it to distract you from your current hyperfixation. I'm Rafa.
And I'm Ryan. At the beginning of each of our episodes, we like to guess what cards we're going to talk about. We're starting off with your card, so let's go ahead and guess it.
The mana value is X, red. It's a creature, a Hydra, and it's a rare from Alpha with base power and toughness 0/0. The OG Hydra, baby.
Dude, I need to go back and I just need to go through the list of Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited cards because we keep coming, or Ice Age, stuff like that, because I don't know them.
Yeah. No,
and of course, it's a +1/+1 card that is in red, so it's not in my +1/+1 counter deck.
Nope.
And it's a red card. I'm an expert on red.
I'll give you the text box. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. Surprise! For each 1 damage that would be dealt to this creature, if it has a +1/+1 counter on it, remove a +1/+1 counter from it and prevent that 1 damage. You can also pay a red, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to this creature this turn, or, this is the best part, red, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, activate only during your upkeep.
What?
Yeah.
Only during your upkeep?
3 solid red pips for a +1/+1. It doesn't get better than that.
At an incredibly specific time.
Yep.
I'm going to assume it has Hydra in the name, because that's how it tends to be. Destruction Hydra.
I mean, you're not even really that far off. It's Rock Hydra.
How is that close?
I don't know. Maybe I'm giving you too much credit. I don't know. I thought you were like that was pretty good. You were just like, generic name
yeah,
Hydra.
Sure. I was close.
Generic name Hydra. That's what you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now
Whatever.
why on earth? What is interesting about this card besides the fact that it was the first Hydra?
The original text is, but first we're going to go over some rules before we get to that. If put onto the battlefield without casting it from your hand, X will be 0. Pretty straightforward. Most people know that. If you cast a spell for free or it's put onto the battlefield, if there's an X is 0. Once on the battlefield, the X is considered to be 0 when calculating its mana cost, so this is a 2 mana creature on the battlefield. You can activate the activated ability that prevents damage anytime. Even if no source seems likely to deal damage to you in the near future, it will prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt this turn, even if that turns out to be much later in the turn. Straightforward too. You could pay a red in first main, and if it's not dealt any damage until second main after combat and everything, still going to prevent 1 damage. But if it goes to the next turn, then you wasted your red mana when you could have put that towards a +1/+1 counter.
Oh. But only if you use that in your upkeep.
If damage that would be dealt to Rock Hydra can't be prevented, you still remove a +1/+1 counter from it for each 1 damage dealt. So what that's saying is, if you go to attack and someone blocks and they have something that says damage can't be prevented, if you pay that red to prevent the damage, it still can't prevent that damage, but you still remove +1/+1 counters from it. Yeah.
I mean, there's cards that synergize with that now. I don't know about back then.
So it has all the same reprints that Alpha does, but it was also in the revised list, which some Alpha cards weren't. And there's only one art, and it's done by Jeff A. Menges. And you can't convince me that isn't Hercules in the corner. So it's like a desert with the Hydra in the background, and there's like a little dude, and that's Hercules, if you're asking me.
He does fight a Hydra.
This is legal in the usual. Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Oathbreaker. How much do you think a moderately played Alpha version of this card is?
Okay, I hate guessing these numbers because they're so outrageous, but then sometimes it's like, nah.
Okay,
it's 25 cents.
Let me give you a hint. This one, you're going to be like, no, it should not be that. Absolutely not.
$250.
Triple that.
What the?
Yes, $750 for a moderately played alpha rock hydra.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Just because it's old does not make it valuable.
I told you that you would be like, what? Why?
Who is paying that for this card?
Nobody. Because the revised, which is like some alpha cards that got reprinted that weren't on the reserve list.
Yeah.
It's $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's some dude out there who's like, I have to own every card that was ever printed in alpha to have a full alpha set.
Yeah.
Just
Give up. I mean, if money ain't a thing, I guess if that's what you want to do, but yeah, I'd give up.
Please let me have that kind of disposable income.
Right? Okay, so the whole reason I picked this card, the alpha text box, I read you the revised text box, and I did that on purpose. So here's the alpha text box for Rock Hydra. Put X +1/+1 counters, and in parentheses it says heads on Hydra. Each point of damage Hydra suffers destroys one head unless red is spent. During upkeep, new heads may be grown for red apiece. So the Hydra heads are +1/+1 counters. So you know how Hydras grow more heads?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, which is one of the original reasons +1/+1 counters were made.
See, this is where the older cards really shine because I felt the same way when I got all the info about Raging River.
Yeah.
Is they put so much like flavor into it. That is so neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I did not know that this is like, there were other +1/+1 counters on cards in alpha, but this is one of the original. So you can say there's a case that every Hydra that puts +1/+1 counters on it is growing new heads. So when you have a Mana Gorger Hydra and it's at like 50 +1/+1s, you just say it's a 50-headed Hydra. I think that sounds better.
Keep casting those spells.
Yeah. It's a 50-headed Hydra coming at you. So another little, while I was in this Rock Hydra rabbit hole, let's say Hydra head hole. I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay. Point being, I was like, so Hydra heads, they've just been a thing since alpha. Well, let me give you the history, a little more history. There's a Hydra head token, and it was used during an event released with Theros, the original Theros block, called challenge decks, which were like one person was a big bad and there were people who challenged. It was almost like, not two-headed giant, but like where there's one big bad. But there was no one piloting the challenge deck, if I remember right, reading about it. Yeah, almost like Arch Enemy, but you're playing against a deck, not a person, and then everyone's on the team. And you either win or lose. That I've never played it. That's just what it sounded like based on what I read. I didn't even look up videos. Anyway, point being, there's been a Hydra head token, and that was in mid-2000s. So they've been Hydra heads at the beginning, Hydra heads in the middle, and then in 2023, there was a secret layer that came out called Calling All Hydra Heads. So from the beginning of Magic, in the middle, and just a couple years ago, Hydra heads have been relevant. They've been a thing for Magic's whole thing, whole time.
I need to look up that secret lair now.
Yeah.
I wonder what Hydras are in there.
But yeah, Hydra heads. Who knew?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to think of it like that every time.
I'm just going to be like, how many heads does that Hydra have? How many heads does that Hydra have? Anyway, what do you have for your card today?
Okay. It is 1 black enchantment, and it's a rare from Apocalypse, which was in 2001.
Does it draw you cards and make you lose life?
How'd you know?
What a surprise.
Yes, and the exact text box says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Phyrexian Arena. There have been 15 reprints of this card, and it has 8 separate arts, so I'm just going to mention the one that I like the most from All Will Be One. Who would have guessed? But I think it's really cool because it's a story spotlight for the set, and it's the one that has Jace, and he's all like, with Vraska behind him. And the flavor text on it says, for a bittersweet moment, Jace believed he could still save his love. A moment was all Vraska needed. For the glory of Phyrexia, she whispered.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Jace is running around with Vraska through multiverse, right? Like that's...
Yeah, this is
But this is way before
This is way before that.
Yeah, I understand.
And
but
then a whole bunch of stuff
Yeah.
happened, and literally it's like Vraska forgot who Jace was. Or no, the other way around. Jace
Yeah.
forgot who Vraska was.
Because of Liliana, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they came back together because true love conquers all, and they're meant to be together. And now they have their little baby running through the Omen paths.
Loot? Yeah, Loot. Sorry, that was a tangent, but I was like, this is the same people, right? I don't do
Yes.
magic lore much, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
8 arts, though.
8 arts.
Wow.
Yeah. There's quite a few.
If you would have asked me, I would have said like 2 or 3, because I really just don't know. Yeah, that many of them. But
That's
they'll be up on screen,
because
so.
some of them are kind of funky. It's legal in everything except for Pauper. The price of the card for most printings of it is $5 to $7. The Furby Secret Lair is $17, and some of the older copies of it can range anywhere from $20 to $50. So the reason that I picked the card today is because I actually kind of took your advice, and I've started looking through more Magic Reddits to try and get like inspiration for cards and stuff like that instead of finding random ones. And I came across a couple different posts that talked about how Phyrexian Arena is bad and everyone needs to stop using it. And I was like, I need to look into this more and really actually think about that. Is it a bad card? So my experience with it is I used to have it in every deck that had black. I still have it in Shieldred.
Oh, really?
Because Phyrexian Arena in Shieldred isn't draw a card, lose 1 life. It's draw a card, gain 1 life. Because you lose 1 and then gain 2. So when I was looking it up, I kept reading through people's comments like, why do you think this is a bad card? And the number one reason that I saw people saying was it's a 3-mana do nothing the turn you play it. There have been plenty of times, and this is why I started taking it out of so many of my other decks. You draw a Phyrexian Arena late game, it just feels bad because you're not going to get a whole lot of benefit out of it, a whole lot of value when you draw it on turn 6.
Yeah, if you've got 1 or 2 turns left before the game's over, then it's a 3-mana draw a card or draw 2 cards. Where if you play it on turn 3 and the game lasts till turn 7, that's a 3-mana draw 4 cards, which is at least decent.
And another reason was people were saying they just prefer to play things that have the instant payoff. So there's a ton of instant sorcery cards. You get into more colors, then you have a ton of options. I just looked at mono black because we're comparing a black card to other black cards. Yep. So, but there's like Night's Whisper, Read the Bones, Sign in Blood, Painful Truths. All of those give you an immediate payoff. So while it's not necessarily more efficient mana to card wise, in the long run, you get those cards right now. There are 2 other cards that I saw that people were like, I'm just going to run this instead. So the first one is Black Market Connections.
Yep.
And again, it is also a pay 3 mana, do nothing on that turn, but it provides you with versatility that Phyrexian Arena doesn't. The other one is Requiem Monolith. You tap until end of turn, target creature gains. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, you draw that many cards and lose that much life. That creature's controller may have this artifact deal 1 damage to it, activate only as a sorcery. In essence, it can do the exact same thing. You deal the 1 damage to the creature and you draw 1 card and lose 1 life on your turn.
It requires more setup. You have to have a creature.
It does. However, it has a much higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Because you can tap that and then go to combat, and if somebody blocks that creature, that counts as well.
And you draw cards. Yeah.
And you draw cards.
Yeah, that's
so,
cool.
However, after seeing all of this on Reddit, which I don't disagree with some of it to an extent, I don't think it's a bad card. Even with the game speeding up, it still has its place in certain decks. And especially if you're playing in lower brackets. So I went and I looked it up. And in all honesty, it really hasn't changed. Some of the numbers changed because there's been more data input into EDHREC, obviously, as time has gone on. Out of all the decks that it could be in, it's in 645,000 decks, which is 15% inclusion rate.
Dang.
It is in the top 10 of the most played mono black cards.
Wow. I couldn't even begin to guess, but I wouldn't have guessed Phyrexian Arena in top 10.
Yeah. It's in the top 10 most played enchantments.
Really?
Yes. And it is in the top 20 of all 3 drops. It is still very high up there.
I think it's a good bracket 2 card, absolutely. Like, it is good in bracket 2.
Or there are some cases where it is just better than what it looks like to be because of what the deck does.
Yeah.
Like Shieldred.
Obeka.
Yeah.
Who double, or who gives you more upkeeps.
Oh, I really want to build that deck. I saw that card.
Fun.
I saw that card when it came out, and I was like, that would be such a fun deck to play around with. I just remember that when I started playing the game, you talked about like, oh yeah, this is a really good card to include. And like I said, it was in every single one of my decks that had black. Yeah. It was in Atraxa. It was in Lathril. It was in a lot of things.
Lathril still struggles for card draw.
She does, but that's okay. Elf Ball do elf ball things.
Yeah. Elves.
That is the end of what we have for you for today's episode. But at the end of every episode, we like to talk about something that we've been hyperfixated about. And I know that you have been literally just like pinpoint focused on in every aspect, working, reading, watching, all of it.
Yeah. Who knew? I got hyperfixated. I didn't realize until we had talked about it earlier, but we've been doing this for 5 months. I mean, technically almost 6 months at this point, because we first filmed in October of last year, and it's currently end of March. Mm-hmm. And so almost 6 months. And I'm still just hyperfixated on this. I enjoy it. I know you enjoy it. Every week we look forward to doing this, even though there's really not too much of an audience listening yet. Hopefully, maybe one day. I had approached you about it because this is something I wanted out there, but it wasn't out there. So I was like, well, when it's not out there, that's when I guess you have to make it. I want a podcast that's about Magic, but it's not about playing better necessarily, or look at this like weird niche case of things. This is just a conversational hyperfixating on a card. So we basically just like pick whatever we want that's just fun, or it can be weird, or it can be, I've never heard of this, have you? But the whole point was it's not serious because this is a game, and a lot of the content out there is very serious. How to win more, how to do better, how to do this, where if you're invested in this game enough, you put a lot of time and effort into making a deck. So if you're that invested that you're building commander decks, then every now and then you might be like, I really like this game. I really just want to like think about some stuff with it, but I don't want to just hear about how I can do better or I can play this. So there's not a lot of that out there, of a lot of lighthearted, whatever nice way to put it.
A good majority of content out there is look at these combos, deck techs, talking about the political environment of Magic.
New cards coming out.
Which we still enjoy. Yeah. And we do dabble in those things a little bit. But yeah, the idea was let's just have a conversation about something that you won't hear somewhere else.
Yes.
You're not going to hear about a lot of these cards just out there in the wild.
No. Since I was a kid, I've loved random facts. And anyone who knows me knows that I will just spit out some random facts sometimes. I just freaking love it. And so I wanted that, but Magic related.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point.
It's definitely a lot more than I think even we anticipated when we started.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it as far as like production wise. We're sitting in our house right now, in our front room. There's no fancy anything. We're recording on a phone.
Yep.
We have a computer that he edits it all on. That's where we create all of our short form content too, and our YouTube long form content and all of that. But starting this with no experience whatsoever, I've done a little bit of TikTok here and there, but outside of that, that's it. That's all we got. Very, very casual, like I'm posting a stupid video kind of thing.
Yep, same.
So it's been, I think I've heard at least at least 20 times in the last week. So I've been watching this thing about how to make our intros better. How do we get people to stick around? How do we get people to watch past the first 30 seconds? This is what's important. This is what we need to do. So it takes up a lot of time with not only getting it done, trying to stay consistent, but also with how can we improve? How can we get this to a point where people are going to want to come forward? You know, it's the dream to end up like a show like The Command Zone or Tolarian or Play to Win or any of those guys who I'm sure started in a similar place.
Yep.
You know,
I'm sure they did. I don't know that for a fact, but we've met all of them. They're awesome people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then just even going beyond that, you know, with moving it into short form, because so many people do that. How do we make short form content that people actually want to watch? That's something that we've been changing as well.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's a really, really fun process. I enjoy being able to sit here and just BS about Magic for an hour. Sometimes two if we record 2 episodes in a day. Each week. And then, like, for me, especially, you do all of the nitty-gritty stuff that I honestly do not envy you for because I don't want to edit it. But
you don't envy me? Listen, if you want a part-time to maybe full-time position with no pay and no benefits, it's for you.
But it's given me a fun outlet for my art, too, with the little knitted characters and stuff, and being able to come up and be creative with, like, we're creating tokens that hopefully we will have printed and be able to give away as freebies to promote. Yeah. But it's also like, I did this and now I get to give it out. Yeah, super exciting.
I got started with my story of where we started, and I almost made it sound like it's all me. It is definitely not all me. I approached you about it. It was my original idea, but you have had just as much influence on everything.
I am the creative director.
All of this right here, this was all you. I couldn't have done this.
Well, that's also because I impulsively spend money on stuff.
And yeah, all the artwork behind it, couldn't do that even if I wanted to, no matter how much I tried. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. And
it's a lot of fun.
Hopefully one day it will be something more, but you know, I kind of I've just been in this. We had a moment where we were like, man, is this even worth it? And it made me sad because even if we sit with our like 4 people that view, it's just fun to do. It's fun to make. It gives us a little brief moment, a respite from the week that I kind of took for granted at first.
We also did get our first like genuine stranger telling us that this was underrated. And I was like, this is an amazing feeling. I'm not ready for any hate. We've been fortunate enough to not really get any hate. Someone out there actually wants to have something like this like I do. I want this, but it's not there. So it was just very rewarding.
No, it was really awesome. However, bring on the hate. I'll take it. Leave the comments. So that's today's episode. You can find us on TikTok for other Magic content and nerdy shenanigans.
And if you would like to share any of the quirks that Magic has hidden in their cards, join the Discord in the description. If you have questions or suggestions for the show, please leave us a comment or send us an email.
Yeah, and let us know if you learned anything new that you didn't know before. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Click all the buttons.
And do all the things.
And we'll see you next time. Bye!